Me, my dog, and my mom. My mom's. Well, I'm super happy my mom's here, but
Mhm.
she's, I think, gonna stay. She's like, I could stay for 40 days, and I was like, okay, sounds
Okay,
good.
cool.
But it's been day two.
Mhm.
She got here on the 31st. It's the second, and it's interesting now because I can see. It's so interesting because I can see. Like, it all started with my dad. Remember, I was like, there is an entity, blah blah blah, and then it went away, and then I realized there's, we're like, we're a universe, right? We're made up of many different energies. What's the dominant energy that's happening right now? And I could see that now. Like, I could see in different ways my mom will react, and I
Mhm.
could see, I'm like, oh, that's her inner child coming through right there. She
Mhm.
wants to be seen. And then
Mhm.
another time I'm like, oh, she's trying to play this one and they're trying to get me out of here. I'm like, nope, not gonna happen. And then I was like, oh, this one's a different entity. I just see them all now, and I'm like, okay, I'm still gonna send all of you love, and then like sending you love creates something that way. Like, it's like, so when you, that's something to say to you.
Mhm.
Um, when you're dealing with things that you're dealing with and what you're going through with the people um, in your family group of your four of you, just ask. Like, there's some things where you can also just like, because you'll be able to recognize and see that there's things there, and then just look at them just being like, okay, I see you. Like obviously you're doing something to trigger the other person so that the other person can clear it. There's ways in which that those things can be cleared by having that trigger, right?
Mhm.
This is for you. Like, you've been doing this stuff with you, but because they're not necessarily having, unless they watch this video, I mean, not all of them, but yeah, but by that trigger, but you're able to see and to recognize and to see it go away as well. um so that was something for you to recognize too, that it's like, that you could, I mean, do you do that already, or like this is something new for me, so you.
Um, Not like that. No. So what you're explaining, it makes a lot of sense. It's like I I don't think like I'll look at it and be like I accept that that is what they're feeling, but um, I think I'm always trying to teach them not to do it, not to be that way, rather than accepting that part of themselves.
Well,
It's like
like, when, my dad is an example where I remember I was like, kind of like, because you just see, like, for me, I'm like, that's my dad, or this is a person, and then I was like, he just was acting like kind of a little off, and then I was like, and I was like, weird. And then when he went into the kitchen, and I was like, oh, I smell cat pee, and then I was like, wait, I just heard, like, oh my god, and I like, and I'm still getting this feeling like, don't, like, just go back to your room, don't hang around him right now. And I was like, but why is it? And then it all kind of clicked. And then I went into the room, and then it was like, oh, you've seen me now. And I was like, I could hear it and I could see it, the thing. And then I was like, oh my god, is my dad like, is that my dad? And then I realized, I was like, no, that's not my dad. It went away, it was gone. And then realizing that what we consider feelings and all these things, it's just the different things popping through, right? And some days it's like your inner child, or maybe it's your future self, and we can put labels on it. And then when we're, yeah,
yeah,
it's like, see, like, this is like, yes, or the meat suit, and knowing that, like, yeah, there's like the universe and everything inside. It's so, and sometimes there's like a storm or cloudy day. What's the
yeah,
cloudy day?
yeah. I guess I'm not. Yeah, I'm definitely not looking at it that way. It's like very interesting.
it's
Like, I think
it's
that's a great way to look at it. Um,
like it kind of brings the whole level of someone's trying to get my attention. It kind of brings the concept of like kind of like how like this is clearly my path and how I'm learning and how it's meant to be brought and shared.
mhm,
Um, it's the way in which I've learned about the empath narcissist. Like we're all putting labels that so and so's a narcissist. It's really big right now. It's like a buzzword almost like
yeah,
narcissist,
it is.
narcissist. And now there's a covert narcissist and whatever the labels are. But in a way, what's happening, it's kind of in the way we're back in the day, doctors or scientists or whatever, that crowd started labeling autism and they
Mhm,
called it Asperger's. And they really put like a label on it. And it wasn't until, and different things. And then now they've changed it and they're saying you're on the spectrum, blah, 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 blah. Well, technically, like most of us are on the spectrum, most of us are autistic. Um, we're just different. We're different. And like, everybody, like, it's just like when you put a hard cold label on it, it's like you're putting someone in a box. And that's kind of what I'm seeing with narcissism. So this is how this went this way.
mhm,
Any narcissist can become an empath, but that has to come from within. That has to be for them to decide. Like no one can force it for them to become an empath. It has to be from within. Everybody can do it. And that's like choosing the good, bad. Like an empath can become a narcissist too if they start going down, you know what I mean? Like it's two-sided. And that's like the good
mhm,
versus evil, right? And I think there's many different types of like being on the spectrum for a narcissist, and so then I was like, okay, I'm realizing that, and then I'm seeing different qualities come through, and I'm seeing it in people that I just mentioned that I'm family, where I'm seeing the energy come through in the words and the mannerisms. Oh, it's like bipolar is another one. We're really like if you think about it, we're all bipolar because we have different energies that are showing through. If you think about it, if you hang out with a friend for a
yeah,
while, you know how sometimes you can start acting like each other. That's
mhm.
because there's energy transferred that you're getting this good energy or bad energy. Who knows? Like different. Um,
So bipolar is just another energy coming through
but
from
yeah, but
someone.
bipolar is just different energies, and it's just or like even like schizophrenia. Like it's just people we've labeled everything into boxes, thinking schizophrenia is bad. Like I mean technically if people went through a spiritual awakening really quickly, like yeah, you would have issues like that. It's like learning to it's just people don't realize that they're like when I first started hearing voices of clairaudient, like there was some stuff like that I would hear, I'm like, who's that? Who's what? And now that as it's
Mhm,
becoming more clear, and now I have like boundaries. I don't want to hear anything of this, whatever. But um, and now when I could see, I could understand that there's different, the different frequencies. It all makes sense. But for some, poor soul that's just diagnosed with schizophrenia because they don't know how to manage it. It's like it's very, or bipolar, right? And or if someone's, yeah, like I can see it. So I can see it in the way, and now you're gonna start noticing it too. And then I was seeing it with like a friend who's having some issues with her stepdad. And she was like, I can see like there's this big entity. I was like, no, just you have the conversation and just be like, what energy is coming through today? And she knows it wasn't a good one. And then I was like, do something. I'm like, you could send it away, send it love, blah blah blah. And she was having an issue. She started singing. She just started humming and singing and clearing with the like she was going to take her dog out and started singing, and then all of a sudden his mood changed, and that's in which people are doing things automatically, like trying to cheer people. It's so cool. The concept is really neat, and like I feel like that And then it also, you know what it also does? It gives, for me, it gave me more compassion and understanding for like for people, like my family members.
Yeah.
When I saw that this person would say something that would normally trigger me, and I just realized I'm like, it's not them. It's a certain thing coming through that's trying to like that was trying to feel heard because of a certain part that needs love. And I just,
Hmm.
when you look at it from that perspective,
Interesting.
it's like you have compassion, and like, and even like having compassion for the narcissist, that like having and realizing that that's like a whole bunch of entities that are making up that whole one word, um, and that they have the ability to clear, to heal, and to clear that. So it's, um, yeah, with your day to day, it's really beautiful. Um,
Yeah. I really like where you're going, where that's what's that what that's coming out as, because it's like there are just times like why has it gone from this behavior to this behavior, like all of a sudden it's like this the flip switch was flipped. um,
Beauty is you can see and you can talk to it, because they're not, those energies aren't used to being seen,
mhm,
um, at all. Like they're just kind of ratting around, and in the 3D, people just don't even know that they're there. Like that was when I was in Laos, when I remember when I saw like the attachments and things, and then they were like sitting and having a conversation, and I was like, what? Right? But you can literally say in your mind, like just being like, all right, what are you trying to get at here? And like
mhm,
a lot of things can be cleared in that way. I mean, some things need to be looked at because they go deep in, but like a lot of things are just getting away, like having a free ride, or like so. My mom's been here for 2 days, and every time I get home, and I'm just like, I see my higher self is almost like, normally I'm like sparkly. I just got an image of like the frozen princess blue, whatever. Like I'm like like blue,
yeah,
like
Elsa.
like yeah. Elsa, I'm like wearing like this long. It's like a bright blue. Like I feel like a snow. I don't even know, but I'm bright blue, and like it's a nice feeling. And I remember like both times I've gotten home from like being around my mom, and I see my higher self, and she's like, I don't even know. It's like a higher self in front of my higher self, and she's black. Like she's wearing a black outfit. I was like, oh, and I'm like clear everything, and then by the time I'm done clearing, I'm back to like that like blue thing. And so what I realize is like, and I like every day I'm like, I do not allow any negative energy to transfer between me and my mom, blah 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 blah. But every day I realize I'm, even the interactions and the conversation that we're having, that's actually doing so much in healing in every single way that I don't even realize. You think you have to, the two of you have to go on like a journey or like blah 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 blah. But there's, and that's what I was constantly told with my dad, and about my dad and about my mom, that the healing that's going on is so much more than you realize. They don't have to have that. I mean, it's beneficial for,
Hmm.
very beneficial, but things are happening so quickly that they're releasing all this density just by having like a conversation. Like I was
Yeah.
told many times, call my mom, talk to her, have a conversation with her on the phone. And by doing that, that's just changing the dynamics so much.
Hmm.
And there's things going on that you don't even see. Like there was like, I'm going to give you just another example, and then just like for food for thought on this, because I love, I feel like you're going to be like, this is how I've been in the last like few days even. But there was this guy that owns a restaurant that I met 6 years ago with my dad in Chiang Mai, and then I met him again when we were in Chiang Mai before we went to Vietnam. He's a middle-aged guy. He's from Canada. He opened up a restaurant here. Maybe he's older than middle age, and super nice, super nice. Had a good conversation about something. He said he said his grandma's really psychic. He's never had a conversation about any of that stuff, and he helped me when I just messaged him about a couple things when I got to Chiang Mai. And I got a really clear message to go down and visit him, to sit. It's a pub. It's an Irish pub. And um, so I went down and and I just messaged him. I'm like, hey, I'm outside. I sat on the patio. I'm here. Like, I'm gonna have a bite to eat. And like, I mean, I'm trying to avoid like the food. It's like pub food, but I like got like
Mm.
chicken strips, fries, and I sat there with a diet coke, zero, zero. Um, and 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 he sat out, and we were chatting, and he was like, oh, when was the last time I saw you? And it was like September, I think it was that I was there, and he was like, oh, he's like, yeah, I had a really, really, really big heart attack in November. And I was like, oh my God. And he was like, yeah, it was American Thanksgiving. He had a heart attack like a number of years before, and he had a couple stints in his heart now. And he had a big heart attack. He recognized right away, so he like got himself to the hospital, had
Mhm.
surgery right away. The doctor said that if it was up to him, he would get the second surgery because he needed a second surgery right away. But he said he can't because there's a wait list. So he was able to do the first one, and he said if it was up to him, he would be the next one on the list. But he couldn't get it until January, and he was told to like rest and be careful. But he has to run his pub,
Yeah.
and then he's like still working, and he was planning a big Christmas dinner, just like Thanksgiving dinner that he was doing, and so I was sitting there for a while. He was still pretty chill. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't believe you had a heart attack. I'm like, I've been talking to you. I'm like, you seem, great. And then like I was there for maybe like 40 minutes. His friend showed up, like just having this conversation. And then I said like a couple messages that kind of came through like I didn't get the feeling that he would be going anytime soon. Like, and
Mhm.
there's something I remember is I'm like he's very well protected. Like it was more like the universe just sending him that. But um and then I walked away, and I was like, I want to do like a healing session with him. Like I was like, I want to message him or no, like because that's my like. And then
Mhm.
my higher self was like, no, you did all the work. You sitting there,
Mhm.
that's why you were there. You were sitting. You were meant to go there to like. And I got the message. No, he's fine. He's gonna make it. He's fine. You did the work. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh, so I don't know. You did it already. You did it. There's so much that's going on that we're working what we're doing, our higher selves. We don't even like, there's so much. And that's one example of me thinking, like, I was like, I'll send him a message and I'll do like a Zoom, like, right. And then it was like, no, you already did it. You did it. You did so much of that. And so it's like, that's what's happening. You are helping. And I think it's also clearing that a blockage too, because that's something I realized, and that's something that I helped that why my dad was doing better too, was because it was the day like when he had really bad COVID, and then when I was like, well, if he doesn't want my help, I don't know what to do, and then it was like, no, he's receiving all that help in the astral. Your higher selves are doing stuff like it's so you are all unfolding in the most beautiful way that it should be unfolding in. And yes, everybody needs to do the work as like work on themselves as well, but you're doing so much more than you realize.
Mm. It kind of reminds me of those times where you like kind of randomly run into someone and have this wonderful conversation, and then you never talk to them ever again, and you just feel like that conversation there was like a purpose for it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
kind of reminds me of circumstances like that. Um, and then in my case with the kids, it's like every time I've gone back and had a conversation with them about what happened later on, and just or spend time um, just building relationship with them. I feel like it just it changes so much. Um, it's like the conversation becomes healing. Like having the conversation, having a conversation. Um, it's like you're going back and you're through the conversation. Like you're. It's just. It's like you said. It's just like healing in that conversation. It doesn't have to be any more than that. Your presence of being there and bringing this light with you and being that light is just like it's like operating. It's like, well, what did you say? You said like your higher self is doing stuff. It's like your spirit, you're bringing yourselves physically together, but your higher selves are talking in the background while you're having this conversation and doing work there for you. Um, just because, and they're able to do it stronger just because you brought yourself right there next to them. And by having the conversation, it's like you're opening the door for your higher selves to operate with each other. Because it's like a way of giving permission.
Yeah, and so my friend Jenny, she's been doing a lot of work in the dream space, like from like years and years and years, right, ago, and then now
Mm-hmm.
she gets told, like, there's a thing she wants to work out with someone, even someone she didn't even know very well, and then it was like a group circle. She met, I think, one person, and then went to sleep, like worked, had a conversation with that person in her dream space in the astral. And then the next time she saw that person then brought up the conversation to her, and then she started talking about it because it was someone. And she's been able to do that everywhere, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so amazing because like it's still like, and it happens all the time. And so when you set the intention too, now it makes it even stronger. Like, like now that I need to do that more, actually.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking that same thing. Like just hearing you say that, I was like, that just clicks something. It's like, oh my gosh,
So then
oh
you
my
can do
gosh,
that
yeah.
when you go to sleep, to have the
Mm-hmm.
conversation with
Mm-hmm.
everyone, and then it'll
Mm-hmm.
come into the light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ta-da! There we go. It's so beautiful, but it's like, and also, in the universe, how when it's like, if you say, like, okay, if I hear something 3 times, that's something for me to pay attention to, like maybe about the news or not to go somewhere or whatever. But it comes up in different ways. Like, it'll come up with, all of a sudden, a person randomly will just bring it up, and it'll just come into the conversation. They don't know why they're bringing it up, but that's your message right there. That's because there's an energy coming through that's telling you that. Do you know? Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, once you see it, like even just having this conversation, and there's even more clarity coming through. But now you won't be able to unsee it. Like, but it's beautiful because then you're working with it in a way of love.
Mm-hmm.
It's so amazing. I'm just like,